This is Brendan from Springfield. Hello, Brendan.
Hey, guys. So, Wiggs, I'd say Durant, right now and next year, you'd probably lock yourself in for a championship because Tatum and Durant, nobody's going to give Jaylen Brown the attention, the double teaming that, Durant would get. And then Tatum and Durant, that's just not fair. But that age is just, you're kind of screwing yourself in the future.
Yeah.
So I don't know, would you rather the championship now or screw yourself in the future?
Give me the championship now because I would much rather the whatever's going to give me the best chances of winning a championship. And if that means Kevin Durant and Jason Tatum give me the best chance, and it might only be for a year or two, I'll take that versus 5-6 years of maybe, but my chances are not as high.
Can you theoretically get Durant without giving up Jaylen Brown?
No. Because Brooklyn's desperate. See, I think Brooklyn is a desperate team right now. They know Durant by himself isn't enough. You lost Kyrie, so they know, all right, we have to reshape what our roster looks like.
Then why was the Woj bomb yesterday that, there's been conversations with other teams, but that the Nets are saying they're not going to trade him before Thursday's deadline?
Well, I think that they might not trade him before Thursday's deadline, but they'll ultimately trade him next season.
But if you're saying they're desperate right now.
Well, yeah, they're a desperate team, but they still might hold on to him thinking like, all right, we could still make a run for this. The thing, because
I don't even think, do you think he wants to come to Boston?
No.
I mean, he can't stand the city.
Well, he was going to come here anyways.
Well,
he flirted with coming here a few years ago.
I mean, early on.
He loved Fenway when he was getting the tour with Kelly Olynyk.
He got a bit. The pitch was made, well, that was 10 years ago.
No, it wasn't. It was like 5 years ago. When they try to get KD to come here.
But since then, he said that essentially that Boston is a racist city.
Listen, guys say a lot of things, but when they look at the opportunities to win, I think Kevin Durant is similar to Brady in the sense where he wants to prove he can win without everybody saying, oh, it was Steph Curry.
I mean, I will say, looking at numbers yesterday, I was somewhat surprised. LeBron James, who, of course, is the subject of all conversation today after what he did last night, averages, I think, 27.3 points a game, and Kevin Durant averages 27.2. It's a tenth of a point difference between the two of them. That was somewhat surprising to me, Wiggy, yesterday.
In what way? Like, what do you mean? Why was it
just because when I hear Durant, I think that he's past his prime.
Okay. No, he's still before he got hurt, they were talking about potentially MVP, and he got hurt because he bumped into somebody. It wasn't like an issue where he's dealing with back issues or a hand. He bumped knees with somebody.
Yeah.
So
bumping knees doesn't mean that you're like, I bump my knee every day. So it's more than just a bumped knee.
It is. That's how he
persevering.
That's how he got hurt. It wasn't like when you look at it could happen to anybody in the type of injury that he had.
But isn't this a major risk, Wiggy, that if this was just a free agent signing, then who cares? Of course, bring in Durant. You're giving up a 25-year-old all-star.
Yep.
Or 26, however old Jaylen is, for a guy that is slightly better now, but could get injured, and then the entire future has been mortgaged improperly.
But see, I'm not even like looking at injury,
but that is what the Celtics have to look at.
Yeah, but see, I don't know. I just look at basketball as being different, right? I don't look at basketball where being like the injury is something that scares me. I don't look at that like in football and other sports. I look at, all right, he's getting a little bit older, sure, but he's still an elite player. You brought up what he's averaging compared to LeBron James. He's still an elite talent. If I can get him for 2 years, then I get him for 2 years. Because you know what I do after the 2 years? Jason Tatum is good enough to go out there and sway somebody else to come play with him.
This is Ryan from Manchester. What's up, Ryan?
Yeah, you kind of stole my thunder there, Wiggy. The guy who called before talking about, screwing yourself long term, giving Jaylen Brown the supermax in 2 years is going to screw you long term. The green team, hearts are way bigger than their brains. They forget Jaylen Brown, when me and my buddies have runs at the YMCA and we dribble off our foot or we kick it out on a drive and hit the back wall, we call it a brown out. He's not. He comes up the shortest in the biggest games. He's honestly, I'm sorry to say, it's a nice guy. He's a choke artist, but he's kind of tied to guys off the court that are a little bit questionable. Listen to who he's tied to. You think the Celtics want to give him a supermax? Get him off the books now, and then, like you just said, KD comes off in 2 years. You can recruit at that point.
Because that's what basketball is. Just recruiting guys.
Yeah.
And that's on the Celtics. It seems like Wick's willing to do that. So let's say in 2 years you win a championship. KD, like you said, KD's at that point where you're moving on. You don't think Tatum picks up the phone and calls Bradley Beal or the next guy or whoever might be in a situation where they don't want to be. Who the hell knows what's going to happen with John Moran or some of these other players that go, it's time for me to, because it's about winning championships, right? Mm-hmm. And these great players know, like Luka Doncic is probably the happiest guy in the world today because he knew he couldn't get there
without Kyrie.
By himself. And adding Kyrie, and Draymond Green said it, that these are the two scariest guys in the NBA because they can score from anywhere at any time. And to have them on the same team is scary.
This is Eli from Charlotte. What's up, Eli?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Hey, so first let me just say this. About 2 years ago, I was all for trading Jaylen Brown for Mike Beasley or for Damian Lillard. But I'm glad I was wrong. I'm glad they're doing good with Jaylen Brown. But, Wiggy, I want to ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
For trades in the NBA, the salaries have to match. So who else do you got to give up to get Kevin Durant?
I mean, maybe you throw a guy like Derek White in there. That's what they were going to do.
That's not going to work.
But they were going to do that in the offseason. They were going to trade Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and draft picks for Jaylen Brown.
Hey, listen,
for Kevin Durant.
You have to make salaries match, which means that now you got to give up not only Jaylen Brown, but they're going to probably ask for Brogdon because it was a lot different now in the summer than it was now. Brogdon is balling out compared to Derek White. So this is what happens. Jaylen Brown averages 27 points a game. You can look it up on ESPN stats. He averages 27 points a game. KD averages 29. You throw in a person like Brogdon who's averaging 14, and maybe they want somebody else. You're giving up a ton, not only in Jaylen Brown, but you're also giving up a key role player that's averaging 14. So now you're losing all those points for a difference of an average 2 points a game.
But it's not points.
They would decimate their bench.
Eli, don't look at the points. See, you're looking at the difference in points. No, it becomes in the championship games or those games when
he didn't win it with Oklahoma City?
When Tatum's getting he didn't win it with Oklahoma. Let me finish. When Tatum's getting doubled, now Durant is one-on-one. And, yeah, Jaylen might get you 28, but if Durant's one-on-one, he's getting you 40.
But again, you never answer this question.
What?
But you created
He didn't win it with Oklahoma either.
And also Brooklyn, you created the dream team. Remember how they were going to waltz their way to the NBA Finals and win it? And they didn't because you got a bunch of
they got hurt.
A bunch of like knuckleheads.
No, it had nothing to do with knuckles. See, this is the problem. You got to know what you're talking about. They were up 2 games in that series against Milwaukee. They blew doors on Milwaukee in game 2 where they beat them by 50 points. And then Kyrie got hurt. He hurt his ankle, and James Harden got hurt. And so in game 3, and the rest of the series was just Kevin Durant. And then he talks about Oklahoma City, and he didn't win it. So you don't want players just because you want Luka Doncic? He's never won a championship.
All right, you're right. It had nothing to do with knuckles. Here's Kevin. Hello, Kevin.
Hey guys, good morning.
What's up, Kevin?
Thanks for taking my call.
Got it.
The most effective lineup that the Celtics had is this 2 big lineup. There's a chance that both of those bigs are toast by the playoffs. I think the question around Durant is how long this window is with Jaylen Brown. And to be honest with you, I don't think it's any more than 2 years. The entire front court might need to be rehauled this offseason. With what assets, I don't know. They have little to no wing depth. There's no guys under 23 on this team that are really like replenish the roster. They don't really have many firsts. I mean,
Well, do you think they're not?
window is 2 years.
Do you think they look at Jaylen Brown as a max guy or not?
I don't think he is. You look at PER; he's not even top 40 in the league. I mean, the gap between Kevin Durant and Jaylen Brown is cavernous.
Yeah, and if they thought he was a max guy, they wouldn't be trying to move him like they were at the beginning of this season. And he's right. It's not even 2 years. Jaylen Brown, it's 1 year. So Jaylen Brown got 1 year left on his contract. You asked the question, do you think that they look at him as a max guy?
Well, they clearly don't. I mean, if we're going to judge what they've done, and if we're going to say that Stephen A. Smith is not completely pulling this report out of his ass, they've now tried to trade him twice. So if you view him as a max guy, you're not doing that. So maybe you're right. If they don't view him that way and they want to get something while he's still under contract, then this makes sense for them. I just disagree with the Celtics' opinion on the player and on Kevin Durant.
And the caller makes a great point. Your window, right? Because people keep saying for the future, the future, the future. Well, you've had these guys for a long period of time.
Future's not guaranteed.
You haven't been able to get over the hump.
That's why the president is a gift.
Yeah. And you haven't been able to get over the hump. So what are you holding on to? What are you holding on to?
I don't even know where we are at this point.
Yeah, I'm getting so confused. We're going back and forth about this for so long, but I think that when it comes to the Kevin Durant, I think the risk is worse than the reward here. And I think that's what we're talking about. And
but maybe not. I mean, you if Wiggy and the callers are correct, you win one right away. Like that's all you need.
I think you win one if you have to get rid of Brogdon too, Jaylen and Brogdon, and we bring in Kevin.
Yeah, because you still have Marcus Smart and your boy Derek White.
Yeah,
I mean, I think Brogdon's a great player, but you still have two.
Of course, Derek White isn't Wiggy's boy.
Well, that's what Courtney want. He's a good player, so you still have those guys. It's not like you're saying, all right, you're getting rid of Rob Williams and you have nobody to replace him with. Brogdon's is a really good player, but you have two guys that are very similar to him in Derek White and Marcus Smart. Yeah. So if you're adding KD, so you got to give up Brogdon and Brown. All right.
Is this a failure for Brad Stevens, Wiggy, if he doesn't get Durant at the deadline?
I don't think it's a failure if he doesn't get Durant, but if he doesn't go to the championship and win it, we then come back and go, why didn't you make a move to get KD? Yeah. That's what I'll do. Why didn't you do it the same way we did it with the Red Sox? Why the hell didn't you trade Xander Bogaerts? You knew you weren't going to sign him, so I'll criticize him for that. Your team is that good, and you're at this point right now. If you don't do, that's why I said, I think it was yesterday, my lead, if you don't do the Durant deal, you better win a championship.
But I mean, it's the Xander Bogaerts is a different.
No,
is a different.
I understand.
I mean, can you see this Red Sox team winning a title without Xander Bogaerts?
No, I can't.
Okay, all right. I'll check on that.
But you know what I'm saying, Greg? Like, we'll come back and we'll look at this point in period and go, this Celtics team is a championship contender, even with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. But if they don't win it, we'll then criticize and go, wait a second, you could have had Tatum and Durant.
Yeah.
And most people probably think if you got those two, you're pretty much a championship team.
I think Ricky from Plymouth agrees with you. Hey, Ricky.
Hey, how you guys doing today? Wiggy, I agree with you 1,000%, brother. 1,000%. With this Kevin Durant thing, look what the Celtics did in 07, 08 to get Durant and Ray Allen. They gave away the house to get these guys to push for a championship, and they went to 2-1-1, and it was a phenomenal deal. And then they got lucky and got back all those picks from Brooklyn, trading away Durant. Trading away Garnett, trading away Paul Pierce. So, Wiggy, I agree with you. Win now, because later on it ain't promised. I love Jaylen, though. I hate to see him go.
Yeah.
But I think it'll work.
Win now.
Right now, just hold on, bro.
All right.
Yeah.
Another win now person.